Oh boy, I'm waiting to see. There he is. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Wireheads. We are a Cyberpunk Red podcast. I am one of your two hosts. My name is Emmerron. I'm a guy who works here, and joining me, as per usual, is my co-host.
Hello, I'm Diamond Dust. I also work here, but I also am currently living in Emmerron's walls.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And joining us this week, we have a wonderful guest that we're both very, very excited to talk to. We have Peter Norton of Hollow Pond Solo Sagas. Welcome so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Most awkward introduction ever. Welcome.
I'm very glad to be here.
No, I mean, I was so excited when you commented on my review of the single player mode, and I was like, oh, cool, I can ask him. I was meaning to get you on here. So I'm so glad that actually worked. Yeah. So Diamond even reached out. She's like, Jay, do you have the contact information? And he's like,
I reached out to Rob.
Oh, you reached out to Rob.
Oh,
That's right. Yeah. And he's like, you got to reach out to him directly, but his email's like here. You should be able to find it. And so we're like, okay, yeah, we'll figure that out.
I looked and I'm like,
I found it.
I must be blind. I am.
Should have subscribed to the channel. You could have seen my email address on the channel.
Yeah. And that's I had to dig a little bit. I think on your channel you have a link to your website, and then on the website I had to dig a little further. And so I was like,
no,
good.
It's in the About Us. It's in. I get emails from people. Yeah. Not to disagree with the hosts.
No.
We're just
tell
blind.
me I'm wrong, because I probably am. So
but it's all cool. Now, so it's all it doesn't matter.
We are. So Peter, I'm actually really curious. What brought you into RPGs? Kind of what was your origin point of this lovely hobby?
RPGs.
Yeah.
So it all depends how long you've got, because I'm 53 turning 54, and I got into RPGs when I was like 10 or 11. So it was a long journey. Basically, I began with the Ian Livingstone Fighting Fantasy books? You're too young.
I might be. I'm 32, but yeah, I might be a little young there. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, 26. Did you say? You young whippersnapper, you. So there were the Choose Your Own Adventure Fighting Fantasy books by Stephen Livingstone, who wrote. Stephen Livingstone was with what was Car Wars? Who wrote Car Wars? But anyway, he worked the original Car Wars, which is a tabletop sort of skirmish,
right?
Post-apocalyptic cars fighting each other type game. I can't remember. It's Stephen something or another. Anyway, they wrote books together, Fighting Fantasy books, and I played them. My mother was going to university at the time, and took me and my younger brother, who I mentioned in the book, in the intro, to university, and we sat in the student lounge bit waiting for her to do classes, reading Fighting Fantasy books, and some of her friends came up and said, do you know about role-playing? And took us as little kids to like their role-playing group, and that's where I got introduced to proper role-playing, which I then went back to school with the original the game one shall not mention, Dungeons and Dragons, Redbox, and played that at school. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, the earlier ones are all right.
The earlier ones
I cut my teeth on 3.5 in 2017.
Yeah. 3. Yeah, I played lots of 3. I ran 3. Actually, 4 was good if you liked skirmish war games.
I loved 4. That's like, I learned on the 4 Redbox, so that's where I got into things. So I'm like, the fact that so many people don't like 4 hurts my soul. I'm like, it's so good.
I mean, 4 is good.
It's great. I love 4.
It was
for a different flavor.
They're pros and cons in like the way they go. And if anything, with the current, I know we're not talking about. I do apologise, we're not talking about Cyberpunk, but the current iteration, at least in its first iteration of 5th, they went back to a more narrative base of storytelling, which was, rather than basically moving pieces and playing with the resources, it was more narrative based. But yeah, anyway, going back to the story. And so it was just from there. So I started role playing, and then I was at school, and the local YMCA came and gave a talk and said, we have a role playing society. And I went, who were called Phoenix Gamers. I mentioned that in the book as well. And me and my brother would go to Phoenix Gamers on a Sunday and go and play. We'd go there at like 10 o'clock in the morning and leave at like 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and spend like 8 hours playing various different games for years and years and years and years. And it petered. You know, like, I got married for a short while and had children, and so that then dipped off, and then it comes back again, and then, you know, so all the way. If that answers the question.
No, that's
years of
a
playing
lot of the time. Yeah,
make-believe.
we're curious, just like kind of what system brought you in. So yeah, it's that. I mean, that is, I would say, probably one of the more interesting answers we've had, because a lot of people are like, well, you know, D&D, or oh yeah, like I came in with like the original like Cyberpunk 2020 or the black box. But yeah, like the choose your own adventure thing is definitely
It was choosing
one I've
adventure
heard about.
books, and most role sets I have played or at least read. But even the solo play. So solo play began because I was basically role playing once a year when I'd go to a con or something, or with the children around the dinner table. But I had so many games, and I had so many games that I'd remembered playing, like so the original Ghostbusters game or Cyberpunk, and I remembered playing them, but I couldn't get them to play. And so I'd just read the books, and then I found out when I was like, you'd play you'd make characters. There's a thing that, especially with Cyberpunk, with life paths, you can entertain yourself quite happily just creating a character and a story for the character and various things around characters, and that is in essence the beginning of solo play. And then you go, well, you know, play out a little combat just for yourself, and then you realize that there's a whole story that you can build up. And so then I started playing, and now I can use all of the games. It's like my PDF collection. I have to pay for extra storage to look after my PDF.
Yeah, I'm getting close. That's where I'm like, oh no, I might have a problem. That's a problem waiting to happen here.
It's the beauty of the digital age. No one sees the piles of books. There are virtual piles of books, and nobody gets to see them and go, like, why have you gone and bought another IKEA bookshelf? Well,
I'm like, me nervously glances over at my bookshelf loaded with RPG books.
I recently had to inventory. So to put the stuff, so we're moving to Belgium, and to put the stuff into a move cube and move it because of customs and excise, you have to inventory everything, like down to an individual. I have 32 D20. I know I have 32 D20. I've got a big box full of dice, because you pick them up from all over the place and you put them in a box and you go, oh, I may have a problem with dice.
I may be a worse dice goblin than I thought I was.
And you have to like inventory all your books, and that's where you actually look at it and you go, far out, I've spent a lot of money on this stuff.
What's just one more dice? What's just one more book?
One more set.
But now I've got hardly anything at the moment. I just have a few dice. I was saying to my partner, do you know, because we're going to the PAX Oz is next week. I was saying, oh, we should really get some more dice. I need some more dice.
Yeah, right after you've done the meticulous piece by piece count of your whole collection. That's I mean, at least you can analyze it, you know, numerically. Like, no, we need more dice. Like, look, we only have 80.
Look.
We only have 80 D10. We need at least 3 more. Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. So, to dive a little deeper into your RPG history, when you do sit down and play a system, whether that is for like solo player on the opportunities you do get to play group, what sort of systems typically do you prefer? Do you prefer like more narrative, more crunchy? Like, where do you kind of land in that?
So I flit in between. So genre-wise, I've always my imagination leans more towards science fiction than fantasy.
Okay.
So I ran a really long D&D campaign back in, so that one that was online in 2016, 2017. I ran a really long D&D because the group that I was playing with, because I used to work at, I was made redundant in April, which was beneficial because they didn't know I was moving overseas in October. I didn't tell them. They said, do you want to be made redundant? And I went, oh, okay.
It's a shame.
I was role playing with at the university for a while with their group, but everyone went different places, so we played online. And I ran a really long D&D campaign, but I had to use everybody else's imaginations to help me spark the storytelling because I lean towards more sci-fi. I'm neurally divergent. I have ADHD and various other, so if the system gets too crunchy, then I miss bits of the minutiae.
Yeah.
Which means that things don't always work as they're supposed to when you're in the real super crunchy game. So like the old school Ruin Quest or what was it called? Traveller. No,
Yeah.
Aftermath. I did, or Traveller particularly, but also have you played Aftermath?
No, I've never.
No.
I actually haven't heard of Aftermath. I've heard of Traveller, but not Aftermath.
Oh yeah, Traveller. So Traveller. Building characters for Traveller with the life path of Travellers is an awesome experience, but when you actually get into playing the game, man alive, there's so much detail. Reading Traveller was like reading a military manual. It's the typeface is tiny, there's like 1 billion words in a page, and it's really it's so painful. Great game, but it's so painful to get through. So I normally try and steer away from crunchy. Which was why I owned the new Free League Twilight 2000 for a very long time before I actually played it, because I had to build up the courage to actually deal with the crunchiness of the system. And so I'm more lean towards the lighter towards narrative. So I'm playing Daggerheart on the channel at the moment, solo. And I've written, to plug my material, I've written some things on Drive-Thru-RPG that you can go and find in the Holopon Solo Sagas. And I'm really quite liking it because it's enough mechanics to guide the narrative without overloading either side. Whereas you have a Captain's Log that I've also played, which is it's a narrative game with a little bit of mechanics to try and make it seem like there are some mechanics, but really, even the rules say you can ignore any of these rules if you want to and just make up the story. So I don't mind those bits for storytelling, but I'll play anything. If it's at a table, basically, the long and the short is, and you'll see by the number of games, like the number of games I've played just this year, I think I've played like 19 or 20 systems this year. I'll play anything. I'm not fussed.
Yeah. No, I mean that. I know I personally have been loving Daggerheart when I've had the chances to play it.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, this is fantasy without all the crunch and the weird. It's just like I can sit down, I can enjoy like just breathing the story and the scenario and all that stuff. That the stuff that matters really.
I have, as you mentioned, as with Daggerheart, my one quibble I have with Daggerheart as a system is there is no default campaign place. There is both of you two write adventures. You write adventures or gigs for Cyberpunk Red. But I said Cyberpunk 2020 because it's the one I loved and grew up with.
It's all good,
yeah. But like Cyberpunk 2020, Cyberpunk Red, you have a setting, you have a world, you can write an adventure, you have things to hook into, you have stuff you understand. With Daggerheart, you just have a system, and then they say, here's a whole bunch of campaign frameworks, pick the one you want to play at the table. Right. So as an adventure writer, how do you do that? It's like, what framework are you writing for? What?
Right.
So that my one quibble is that with that, so even with D&D, there's the Point of Light, which is its base framework for Dungeons and Dragons, which is there's a wilderness of nastiness and these little tiny bits of civilization dotted around the place. Daggerheart doesn't actually say that to you. It doesn't give you anything to work from. It's very cool narrative-wise because your table should come up with what your world is. Your table should work together. Right. But as a third part, like as somebody trying to come in, or if you're going to write a convention thing, you would need to say, okay, well, this is the world, this is the premise, this is what's going on, here's your little one-shot adventure. Whereas with most other systems, you can sort of step in and go, I automatically know what's going on here. It's like with Daggerheart, are we in a world of like real sort of playful, sort of androgynous animals that are wandering around and being all coy and playful, or are we in this sort of like desert,
like dark
desolate
fantasy, or like
wasteland?
on the very opposite end of it? Yeah. I mean, I
You don't really
think
know.
I think with the frames, because that's something to go just a step down there. Some of those frames do define settlements and things like that, where they do figure that out. But yeah, I agree that it leaves much more of that up to like your players and you, and let you kind of find that, which is fine, but also yeah, it's there's a give and take there. But I will say, I think in Red especially, like 2020 was much more like it defined the world around it much more. Red is very much, at least up to this point, right? Very much, it is Night City. Like we have Night City, we have a little bit of information about the broader world beyond, but it's very like Night City is the one that is being developed as like the character, so to speak, in that broader world narrative. And I agree that even that alone is very helpful of like, okay, in the city, you've got, you know, these districts are the safe ones. These districts are the kind of, we aren't sure. And these are the hard combat zones. You will get shot if you go here. Like, just having that helps enough, like, in a lot of cases.
You've got somebody who comes to your table at Roll20Con and they've not played Cyberpunk since the 2013 version, and you say, Arasaka security walk up to you, they're instantly going to know, I'm not going to mess with these people. I'm like, they're heavily tooled, they're heavily armored, they're heavily skilled. I'm not messing, unless I want a big fight, I'm not messing. Whereas you could say that in like a Daggerheart or their equivalent, and they'd go,
right.
All right,
I don't know that faction, right?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And so that's my one quibble. But it's not just Daggerheart. Just Daggerheart is a prime example.
It's the most recent, I would say, example of that for sure. Where it's you need a little bit of definition to put meat on the bones initially to really dive in and feel like, okay, we know what we're doing. We know what we are, you know, our place in the world. Like that's my wife's biggest complaint as to why she won't get into tabletop. And I'm actually curious to hear kind of what your experience with systems like that are, because we haven't talked a whole lot, you and I, about the way worlds get built and the way that has to then work as a GM. But I know, like, when I've tried to play fantasy games, like D&D in particular with my wife in the past, she's like, I never really dug it because like everything is so nebulous and it's hard to know cultural norms and the world and like where things are at, what is acceptable, like how bad or good is it to use magic in the open air and like in the middle of the city square. If I cast a little spell, is that going to panic everyone? Is everyone going to look like that's the most normal thing ever? You don't know until, you know, either your GM defines that for you or you have a source book that is defining it for everybody. And that just makes it really difficult. Because like Diamond, when you've run fantasy systems in the past, like what is your relationship with that? I'm actually curious about that.
So I kind of got spoiled. All right. So after a short, you know, stint of learning, you know, Dungeons and Dragons 3.5, my game master, ended up having like this really like well put together setting already that I ended up inheriting the notes for. Given there is still some stuff that's nebulous about it, but there's a pretty well structured world that's been put in front of us. That being said, when I've looked at a lot of these other fantasy games, and you know, also like I'll throw Fabula Ultima in the mix as well, because you are as players are building the world. It's very, you know, out there, like what?
Yeah.
I like having something that's like really like down to earth, and a spot that like I have a good way to set my perspective. Wait, scope or perspective for this one?
Perspective, possibly.
I think perspective, just because like, you know, like with Night City or LA in the case of like Blade Runner. You can sit down to these games and you have an idea of like what the urban cityscape is going to look like, and from there, the culture is pretty laid out to like what you're dealing with, and probably with Night City 2045, we're going to be seeing a little bit more on what's acceptable in certain neighborhoods, what isn't, which especially for those that wear like gang colors as a fashion choice, when you should not wear your gang colors.
Oh boy, I wore tiger claws in a maelstrom territory. This can only go well. They surely won't shoot me on sight.
Read the original, the Night City source book?
Well, yeah,
I've read a decent chunk of it. I haven't gone all the way through it, but a lot of my reference for how some of that is supposed to work comes from that book. So it's obviously the city's changed quite a bit. So that's kind of where it's like getting a more modern view on some of that, I think will be helpful, especially because some of the crunchier mechanical aspects of 2020 were fairly different than Red is, as far as like certain elements.
So more with the Night City source book. It didn't really go into the crunchy, but it was more what Diamond is saying is more the functional. So so making the city a character.
Right.
And so it really fleshed that out. And so I'd imagine 2045 will do the same sort of thing.
I would
absolutely
agree. Yeah.
And also
in that way,
like with all the DLCs and other expansions that we've gotten, we've been starting to get like a real good bite on things like Piranhas and the Andersons kind of have this weird like gray relationship going on. Like there's like a romance going on between like the lead of one of the Shoals and Molly Anderson. It's very well defined that the Iron Sights and the Red Chrome Legion. Well, nobody likes the Red Chrome Legion.
No one likes them.
No one likes them. If you do, I mean, are you selling them something and taking them for all they got?
Yeah.
Or are you just an asshole yourself?
Yeah, right.
But, I suppose we did get a little bit of a read on it in the beginning of the book, single player mode, Peter. But what really inspired like you to create the solo play systems for RPGs? Like, what was the big inspiration, the goal, the idea?
So the stuff that's in single player mode is based on stuff that I began writing for Lancer, and also previously. So there's also a Lancer solo series, and on Drive-Thru RPG you can find a Lancer GME and Game Master helper, and also my first adventure I've written, which is more of a point crawl for Lancer, toned for a solo player. So really what it was is there are 3 tiers of solo game. There is the hold your hand and describes every single element of it type 1, which is there's entity. They're mostly very small. They're either like a single piece of A4 both sides. They often will use cards and they'll tell you exactly what happens, and there's very little room for your own narrative interpretation of it. Then you have a middle tier, which is I'm going to mention Free League because Free League are very good at this.
We both love Free League, so yeah.
Free League are very good at this. So The Walking Dead, Twilight 2000, Corollis, which I'm going to start playing next week.
I really want to play that one.
Oh, it's
really
good. Such a good read.
It's really
I
good.
really want to do Tales from the Loop.
Tales from the Loop.
As well.
Yeah, I have Tales from the Loop, but I haven't played it yet because I don't know how I can tell a story. So it's like the Electric State. I played the Electric State, and the read of the Electric State is awesome. But then when you start to play the Electric State, it doesn't play as well as it reads. There's less there as a game to actually bite onto. You've got like a mini series. There's no long tail that I can see that you could build into the Electric State and make it still the Electric State. Yeah. It has to be sort of like a 3-4 parter, and then that's it. You leave your characters, and it's got to be a bummer of an ending. It's got to be like the world's dying, the world's falling apart. You can't have an upbeat ending. And so you can't say, but so you've got that middle tier, which is those games which come with tools, and then you have the end tier, which are the third-party tools, which you then play any game with. And a lot of the third-party tools, such as Mythic, are just too complicated for me. Mythic is fine, and lots of people use it, but it overwhelms me, and I can't. I don't. I think it also guides too much. There's not enough allowing me to have my own narrative flow, and so, based on me being who I am, I thought, oh, sod it. Like, I'll be punk and I'll just make my own. And so I just started writing my own things, and because doing the own things at the table, and so it's like the cyberpunk one. I tried to use things that I could find. Nothing really had the cyberpunk feel to it, and so I wrote my own stuff. I then wrote the book, and then I approached, because I was going to publish it, because I was publishing the other stuff, and that was going to be my first one I published. And I approached Art Azorian and said, "Can I use your names, please?" And that's where Jay Gray said, "Why? What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm writing this book. I just want to publish this book." And then he asked to see some samples, and that's where that came from. But the essence was, I started writing things because I like creating. I'm a creator. I like, I paint, I draw, I knit, I make things, I solder things. I have 3D printers. I make things. If there's not a thing in the world and I want a thing, I will make the thing. It's the essence of punk, but I don't really like punk music very much.
Right. It's not the like destructive, rebellious kind of punk. It is the making things kind of punk.
Working outside the system.
That individualism that punk entails, I think, is the best way to look at that.
So if there's a thing in the world that you wish was there, go make it.
Right.
Like, if someone's not making the music that you like to listen to, make music that you like to listen to. Just make it. You don't have to be an expert. And it's the whole thing about, which I say on the channel quite a lot, is when you see lots of solo role players and people on, they're exquisite artists.
Yeah.
Or their handwriting is beautiful. When you look at my channel, no, mine aren't. I do stick figures. My handwriting is atrocious. Because you shouldn't be held back from your creative spark as a human being with our creative sparks by the fact that you're not very good at drawing. Like, just do what you can do. Whatever you do, if you're doing the best you can do, that should be good enough. You create. Go off and create things. Which is, there's some people, like, I'd actively encourage anyone, go do a YouTube channel. Go tell stories. Go, like, find the thing that gives you joy to bring into the world and go bring it into the world. Like, don't just consume, make.
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, I'm clearly I'm a proponent of that, because with it was so interesting, because like when I went through college, and originally when I was a kid, I was like, I'm gonna make video games, like I'm gonna do like 3D modeling for video games when I get older. Never really had the opportunity to like practice with that with like any kind of junior tools. Mostly there was like one or two like dabbles in RPG Maker on the PlayStation 2 that I messed around with, and I was like, this is cool, like I enjoy doing this is very cool. And then I got to college, got about halfway through, did some like actual game art and game programming courses, learned what that looked like, and suddenly panicked because I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this though. Oh no, what am I gonna do? And so I leveraged my second focus area, because we had to do two, so that was my first. I completed, they're like, congratulations. I'm like, oh no, I don't know what to do with this. And so leveraged the second one into like video and photo editing, like media editing and media production. And so then did nothing with that professionally after graduation at all for like a decade. And I was like, oh, okay. And then like 2 years ago was like, I bet I could talk really good about Cyberpunk, right? I've been playing that since the pandemic, and I love this thing. It's my focus area. I'm autistic, and I have a hyperfixation here. Let's leverage that. And here we are. Like that's literally. And so now writing, using those production things for video, using the production things for my own adventures, title art, all that. And I'm like, I can do layout, I can do design. If I have royalty-free assets, I can merge them. I know how to do all of these things. It's incredible to now suddenly be like, I can make things, and I know how to make things. And I agree. Consuming is hollow by comparison when you're not taking a hand in it, you know?
There was someone, I can't remember where I read it, but someone did a comment about single player. Well, you know, as ego driven most of us are, I went googling single player mode as soon as it went live, and someone made a comment: "Is it just going to be tables? Because I want someone to give me. I don't want to have to interpret tables." And I think that's the essence of the go make things. Is you don't want to be. And I don't know who this person was, but it's lazy. You don't want to be lazy with life. You only get so many years of life. Like, use them and you don't have to just do the same thing because you've always done it. So I did a degree in physics, and then I went to become a school teacher, and then I became an engineering consultant. Then I became a back-end programmer. Then I became a front-end programmer. Then I became a thing called a Scrum Master. Do any of you know what a Scrum Master is?
No,
I've heard the term, but yeah.
So a Scrum Master is like a team lead, but uses Machiavellian psychological tactics to get you to work hard without you realizing it, to be blatant.
Oh!
I love
Okay.
that description. That's colorful as all.
Yeah, just to be blatant. And so I won't tell you what to do, but I'll encourage and guide you. So you think it's the same thing as I did when I was a school teacher. To be an effective school teacher, you don't tell the kids what to do.
Right.
You make it their decision, but they don't realize that you've told them to make this decision, and you guide them where you want them to go. That's what you do as a Scrum Master. And then I started doing this, and so now I've become a best-selling author. What the?
I mean, yeah. You know, Cyberpunk Red single player mode hit top of the charts.
Yeah, that and it took no time at all too. That was the thing that I looked at. That was like, holy moly! Okay, that's incredible.
Far out.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine what that must feel like for you, because I'm curious, because I had a question here that I feel like now, after hearing some of your responses prior to this, I have a feeling this list will be quite long. But the question was to ask you how many other projects you've had before this. So I'm going to amend that, and rather than ask that, how many others have done what single player mode for Cyberpunk has done, where it's like that level of bestseller kind of thing?
I won a Webby Award, or I was part of a team that won a Webby Award.
Oh.
This was one of the, it was a long time ago, for the BBC World Service. I think it was one of the second or third ever Webby Awards, and I went and got I was awarded for that.
cool.
I got an award for cross stitch when I was at school.
So what you're saying is
Really?
this is kind of still not a super common thing for you.
No, not at all. Not at all. I've done some stand-up comedy, and people applauded, which you know, and they laughed, which is quite rare when you do stand-up comedy, not open mics.
Yeah.
Fair. No, hey, I've groaned as much as I've laughed, I think, at most of the ones I've ever been to. So
I've done a large smattering. I got third place in a bodybuilding competition.
Yeah, that's wild. So you've done a lot in your time.
I've done a lot of different stuff.
Yeah,
I've done a lot of different stuff.
No, but okay.
Yeah. But
Well,
no,
so
I've never been a best-selling author.
Well, congratulations on having achieved that. That's
co-author, to be honest.
It's, I mean, still deserved congratulations with the level of, I mean, the quality of what came out of that collaboration is honestly, like you were saying before, and we were talking a little bit before going live, that there are these supplements out there that attempt to sort of generically create some of these tools, like the ones that I know you and I both said we'd read were the 100 things lists for like 100 things the body leggers left behind, 100 files on the net, and then there's slightly broader supplements like augmented reality that are like, what is your city like, you know, what smells, sounds, etc. And obviously elements of that get captured in solo mode, but it now has all of the appropriate trappings for Cyberpunk, and it's more narratively focused in a way that those other supplements really just could not be, because they were trying to be too broadly applicable, and by extension they lose most of the
Yeah.
flavor when they're diluted out that far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are lots of particularly for solo play, because solo play is based on oracles, and oracles are basically tables. There are lots of the generic tools, so for fantasy or for sci-fi and the problem when I've read a lot of them is that they are way too generic, and you basically have to cull half of a table because it's not going to be relevant to you, and if you roll it, it's a waste of, you're wasting your time at the table. Right. And we all got limited time, and so we don't want to waste those time. And so that's where, with game aids for solo play specifically, I would say try and use things that are built for the game you want to play, or at least the sort of the tone of genre you want to play, rather than just get the pure, like Mythic. Mythic is fine as a system, but it is really generic. Right. And out of those tables, there are so many tables that you'll actually find you'll only use 2 of them, because only 2 of them are applicable to what you do. And out of those, maybe like 75% of the roles are applicable to what you do. So very much getting something tonally correct, like the single player mode is, looping back to single player mode, is really beneficial. Not that I get any royalties from single player mode. If you want to buy any of the Holopon Solo Saga books, I get royalties.
Yeah, I mean, and like you've said, you're on drive-through RPG, so that's very accessible. Yeah. No, I'll be interested to go and check what all you have worked on there, because I know that I only have so many hours in a day right now, and so it's pretty cramped as far as like running stuff on the channel side of stuff, and then like trying to, because Dime and I both run professional games on StartPlaying for
That's
Cyberpunk.
Where my question's going to come.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm curious. What is your question about that?
Can I interrupt then? So what? So I read both your profiles before the invite and everything, and I've seen stuff about you. And so you said I've been a DM for years and years and years. I became redundant. I'm now trying to have multiple income streams. At the moment, I'm not even making minimum wage. How does that work as a professional DM? Like, how does that? So do tell me and the rest of the audience.
Yeah, no,
I actually,
it's really funny. We just talked about this a few weeks ago, but Diamond got me into it, so I think she's the professional here. Yeah.
Whoa, professional. Okay,
the expert, if you will.
Well, we actually this was asked to me when I went on to the Wisdom 000 and Cyber Smiley's weekly podcast, the Forlorn Dopes. And they asked about this. So what Emmerron and I use, and also for anyone who may be tuning in for the first time, we use StartPlaying games. Would you call it a marketplace? Is that what StartPlaying is?
I would say it's probably accurate to call it a marketplace. They're like a matchmaker / marketplace. Yeah. And
so you put out, you can put out a listing, and what the price would be per player, per seat, per week. So then players who decide to join the campaign, they are paying you for the not only just the time of GMing, but also all the planning leading up to it. And then with that, StartPlaying takes a little cut, and then you get the rest. Which, I mean, for me, just because I tend to be pretty open about it, it's somewhere about $200 a week, I think, for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
200 US.
But then again, that's like 4 paid games a week under my belt. So
like, and it depends. There are GMs on there that I know can command like $50 per seat per game that they run, depending on their experience and all of that. The big thing is, like, when you first start, you have to get vetted via review by people who've played with you before. So like a lot of my friends who have played either Cyberpunk games with me, or like my older friends who were at like my first D&D tables and stuff, I reached out to them and said, hey, would you write me a review because this is how I get vetted. And then once you are vetted, you submit something called an adventure template, which basically tells them like, this is the system, this is the general vibe that I'm going to be using. These are my safety tools. Like they make sure that you utilize some kind of player safety tools. And basically you get all that together into this adventure template, which essentially is like a proposal. You submit it to StartPlaying, they review and approve it. And once that is approved, you can list adventures on the site and charge, you know, whatever amount you want, really. They say like generally between 15 to 20 is average. I know I ask for 30 a seat most of my games. And it's fun as long as you've got the time to kind of plan and execute. I know I've kind of hacked that side of the system a little by just being like, I'm going to run mostly pre-written stuff. And so I can, once I program that once for Foundry, I can just kind of like export and then duplicate that between game servers so that it makes that time much easier for me to just kind of do my notes, and it's very little I have to work on back.
That's so having done other types of the equivalent but not professional DMing, that's the standard. Like, so even when I was teaching, you know, teaching is the same class you taught last year and the year before and the year before, so it's not, you know. Oh yeah, cool, awesome. So when you mentioned about tools and with the safety tools, so that is another thing that I do and I talk about, and some of the things that a lot of things that sell on drive-through are, I have how-to videos I do once a month, and a lot of the things that I deal around. So I began a couple of years ago a degree in psychology to become a counsellor. But then I realised how long the path was to become a registered counsellor, how old I was, and the fact that I'd be well beyond retirement age when I finished. And so I did. So mental health and dealing with the realities. And also I have lots of what's called lived experience. I have lived experience with my family and myself. Those tools are very important. And I think they're often, by some sectors of our community, overlooked in how important they are in dealing with people. Like, you know, a thing that may not, you know, resonate or impact you may have been a very core traumatic part of somebody else's life. And so you have to understand that we are all different, and part of what makes, you know, a society wonderful is the fact that we're all different and we all bring our own backgrounds and experiences. So those tools are very important to consider.
I awesome. Firmly agree with that, because I made a video because I've got a series on my channel that you might have seen that is how to GM Cyberpunk Red. And I have a video in that series talking about running session 0, and in that I discuss how important safety discussions are and why we need to do them, especially for games like Cyberpunk that focus on fairly dark subject matter and can get really, really dark depending on how you focus or examine that world. And I remember someone once commented on that video saying, oh, my table and I will be fine. I don't think that any of that is really important. That's a waste of time. And I'm like, I promise you might say that today. There will be a time that you will stick your foot in your mouth. I know, because I have. Like, it is very important until you realize that you are going to be like, you are going to undersell yourself until the day where you're like, I was really hurt by the way you approached this. It's like, okay, that's not what I wanted to do at all. Like, I want to have fun, not that.
Session 0 is one of those things that it's just like, it's a hard must for me. Now, for the essence of time, as like, wow, the time has blown by.
Sorry.
No. How dare you be excited about the something that we've been discussing here?
Well, and I told you over email, Peter. We can have you back. This isn't have to.
I'm happy to come back. I like talking. So.
I suppose we did just glance off of it for just a moment, but how did the discussion for Cyberpunk Red single player mode come up? Because it sounded like you brought it to Artal, and then Jay got interested.
I took
Let's hear about it.
Okay, so what it basically was I had written the manuscript ready. So it was pretty. So as you mentioned, layout. It was pre-layout. It was just a Word document, and there was loads of mentioning. So Ripperdoc, various other things. And so I'm gonna mention AI because then you can segue into your IA stuff later. But then to use as an editor, I used it as an editor. So I fed it in and said, "Is there anything wrong with this?" And it went, "Well, you're using loads of terms that are actually owned by Artazorian." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I should check about that."
Yeah.
And so I contacted Jay Gray. So I used it just to clarify, as an editor. It even doesn't do a fantastic job as an editor, and you have to go over stuff yourself.
Right.
Current algorithm, because basically it's just very, very, very intense algorithmic usage, but called AI, but it's not. Is really good as a first pass editor, but you still have to edit yourself.
Right.
Back to the story. So I looked up on who I would actually contact in Artazorian to ask. And I saw Jay Gray was the lead, was the product line lead. So I emailed Jay Gray and said, "Hi, I'm writing this manuscript, and I would like to use cyberpunk names. It was mainly for districts, and the word Ripperdoc was being used. Can I use that? Is that all right?" And then he asked, "What are you doing exactly?" So I said, "Oh, a solo book." He then said the whole, "But isn't Mythic's like the standard for solo players?" It's like, yeah, for some people,
Yeah.
for me and other people, like,
Oh my
no, it's way too complicated, and it's got like the scenes and like you don't need any of that stuff. And also so massively awesomeness for Red, which 2020 didn't have. There's the beats system,
Yes.
is fantastic. It's taking, so beats have been around since the 60s and 70s, like story beats, particularly for television writing and for writing for years and years. But it's an awesome implementation of that beat system. And so I had the random table for beats, and so I was like, "Can I do that?" And he was like, "Oh, well, I've been wanting to do a book like this for quite a long time now." So this all occurred in November 2024.
Wow.
The whole conversation was in November 2024. And then I sort of had a little bit of a piecemeal. I showed him an outline. I showed him this little samples. I showed him this stuff. And around February, he went quiet and I didn't get anything back. And I was like, oh, that would have been cool. Oh, well. So I laid it all out. I took all the cyberpunk names out of it. I removed it all. And I said, "Look, I'm going to self-publish." And he went, No. Let's make this happen faster. And then it all sort of like, I had to put all of them back in again, all those terms back in, and then it basically rolled from there. So it was basically because what happens is, and a lot of people on drive-through don't realise, you need to check the IP of the stuff you're using when you publish it. You can't just use some term, like the word cyberpunk is fine. Cyberpunk is not owned by Artazorian.
Right, it's a genre. It's not just the capital C. Yeah. But say even Night City is okay to be used because William Gibson uses Night City in the Neuromancer book and various other books. So Night City is okay as well. But Arasaka, no. Even the word Ripperdoc was originally used and was originally produced by Artazorian. So the term Ripperdoc, you can do, derivations, but if you want to use that word, you can't do it. And so you should really check. I had a segue. I don't know how you are with zombie fiction, but I quite like my zombie fiction now and then. And I was going to do, so for October on the channel is Zombie Month, and I've done some zombie things. And there's a series of books by an author called Keith C. Blackmore called Mountain Man, which is basically is watching someone get an alcoholic deal with the zombie apocalypse and slowly degrade into psychosis. It's very deep and dark, but really cool. And I wanted to do some tables based on that, and so I wrote them and then thought, I suppose I should check with him and see if it was okay. And he was like, "No, I've already given the rights to somebody else to make a game. You can't do it." He was very lovely about it. But you need to check before you
always
start publishing. But it was that basically that was the conversation that I approached. I had a thing. It just so happened,
You brought Jay the very
had a
thing he
need.
was looking for.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
Pretty much
I mean,
that's it.
that's extremely cool. That I mean, just a mutual kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, we wanted to do something like this, and you brought it our way. Let's make this happen.
That's it.
Yeah.
I sent a 70-page manuscript, and he said if I need any changes, I'll get in touch with you and do some changes. And the only thing he wanted me to do, because I didn't do it, because it was too ego-driven, I didn't write an about me bit. He said, "Could you write an about me bit?" It's like, okay.
Well, I mean, get some preface.
You deserve
on,
credit.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. It's really cool. And then
But-
so on the front page there's a thingy. To Ezra and Mandy, who is like my youngest is called Ezra, and Mandy's my partner, and so that was that was the bit as well, because I've not done that in any way. It's like everyone else has a dedication, and I've like gone, nah, it's my book, and so yeah, those are the only changes he asked for.
That's awesome. So then there is another question I have before AI stuff, because that was something we started talking about early, and I was like, oh man, I want to have a conversation there. There's it was before you even jumped into the call, Diamond. So you're gonna have fun
jumped in,
writing this, So
we may have to return. I have 15 minutes, and then
So let me ask this one then. So within your work, when you do solo modules for games like single player mode, are there certain things that you consider like a signature element that you try to include in every work that would have gone in there? And if so, what are they?
I am a big proponent of clocks.
Okay.
I think as a solo player, clocks are very important. You can use them as a DM, and it takes some of the weight off of you as a DM to use clocks, and I have done previously years ago. But clocks give you that unknown element that people often crave as a solo player. Gone.
Also, I found some of my tables actually like having the dice clock versus the standard clock as well. Yeah,
because then you get the dice. The cool thing about it, and I've had it whilst playing a Twilight 2000 on the channel, is you can have a big pool of dice, and you go, right, if I roll a 1, we'll take those out, and you roll it, and nearly all of them roll 1s.
All of a sudden, this got a lot more urgent.
You're like, I wasn't expecting that.
Well, this went real bad real quick.
Yeah, right. Depending on what that clock is symbolizing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so it gives you that element. So that bit came in. Also, I am a very big proponent of, particularly when you solo play and with a lot, you need to know the purpose of the thing you're doing. Sure. Are you having a combat just for the sake of having a combat? Do you want to just roll some dice and kill things? Fine, go ahead. Do some skirmish wargaming basically and have a combat. If it's just a sort of a little short scene, if you imagine in a film, they wouldn't spend half an hour worth of and all that CGI money on a massive fight scene which didn't actually drive the story forwards. So just abstract it. So I'm a big proponent for abstracting and things that abstract certain situations out, and you can just generalize. So don't do 27 skill rolls to resolve a thing if you could just roll a die, or just say it works, because if your story's going to get killed by this thing failing, don't give the chance to fail. Just narratively describe what happens and then roll on to something else. It's a lot of abstraction and narrative interpretation of things are things that you will see in a lot of the rules and the games I play at the table. I do lots of so one of the things you said, Diamond, you mentioned in a previous, I have been watching some of your videos.
Oh goodness.
Is the narrating, or I wrote up and then I narrate it. It's all cool, but everything I do is live, recorded but live, and so I am making stuff up on the fly instantly because of my ADHD. It wouldn't work any other way. I can't follow a script. Even like the stand-up was, you learn your bullet points. and then you talk around the bullet points. So it's that the narrative interpretation is the thing that I encourage in a lot of the materials that I write. I encourage that explore your creativity aspects. If that answers the question.
And much like Columbo, I have one more question for you. This is one that we ask a lot of folks. This is from one of my dear friends, Fish. What is your ideal sandwich?
My ideal sandwich? I am quite partial. So Mandy and I go for long walks, and we'll often we're frugal, which is also called skinflint or mean. That we'll just buy nice bread rolls with nice cheese and some form of ham for the saltiness, and just that. So nothing else, just cheese and ham in a nice bread roll. I think I'm quite partial to that. That's quite nice.
Beautiful. No, that's wonderful. So I know we're short on time, but the one, I suppose, final question here, because of the fact that Diamond kind of came halfway through our discussion on this. So I know AI obviously is a thing that has entered the sphere, and people have some very divisive opinions on whether it's good, whether it's bad. And I believe that based on our discussion before this, we kind of agree that there are lines where it's like, okay, here it's kind of like, this is all right to use it in these ways. It works fine to do these things. Over here, this is like putting either too much on it or relying on it to do the wrong things, because it's you're giving up a lot more of your agency than you have to or should. So to combine kind of our last question with that, when people are using this as a tool to be an assistant GM rather than being a full-on GM emulator for like a single player game, do you have tips for doing that? And how would you say that differs from them using an AI to accomplish something similar?
So the problem with using an AI to give you story guide is that so the essence is where does creativity come from? So people see an AI image or see AI text and say, oh, wasn't that creative? It's, well, no, you bring the creativity by reading it or looking at it and saying that's good. That's where the creativity comes from, your interpretive spark of it and your interpretation. And so if you're allowing AI to interpret things, then you're denying yourself that creative spark. And so the difference between using a set of tabs, you can get an AI to create you some prompts, right, which you then interpret and bring the creativity to. But with the so for me personally, using the books and the tables gives you that tactileness and that connection to the story and to the production and to it's like a creative spark. It gives you that tactile spark. So leaning too heavily on something else to take your creativity away has some negative ramifications to it. One of the biggest one is you don't get to practice being creative. And like anything, creativity is something that needs to be practiced and honed and measured. And if you deny yourself those opportunities, you can't get better. I've read someone saying something, it's like your first solo gaming session will be nothing like your 100th. Your first DMing, the first time you ever DM, and when someone asks you what's behind the door, you go, I've got no idea what's behind the door. Right. The 1000th time you ask that question, you go, oh, right, okay, so there's two blokes sitting in the corner, they're having a beer and having a chat and playing cards, and someone else is staring out the window, and none of them have quite noticed you there yet. What you can see is over on the far side, there's a terminal, and there's all sorts of numbers going up and down the screen. Something's going on in the room. And it's only like you just make that up on the spot. Right. Your creativity has the practice. Right. And leaning heavily on AI doesn't give you that. So I would say the tables within an Oracle, single player mode has some fantastic Oracles in, because I wrote them.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, I can't argue. You're not wrong.
But there are some other products
I mean,
out there that are equally as good.
Fair enough.
Also, like the noun verb adjective prompt actually is quite nice.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, I'm kind of hitting this foggy area in my session plans. Give me something.
Yeah, and that's it. And the reality is, so also, I'm a big proponent of what we call the woo. There is the interconnectedness of everything. You know, it's the quantum, it's the quantum connection that we have with other people. It's the bit that artificial intelligence can't do because it's not a quantum computer majoritarily. We are basically quantum computers. Experimentation has shown that some of the thought processes that we have don't occur in our heads. They occur in a quantum level. Where is that quantum exchange occurring?
Fair enough.
You know,
Yeah.
where does sorry to segue somewhere else as well. There was a thing called the 100 Monkeys experiment, where there was an island which had some monkeys on, and it was. Do you know about it?
We've talked about it in sociology.
I've never heard of this, so I'm curious now. Yeah.
The island got split naturally, and the tribe of monkeys got split between these two islands. They had no communications with each other on these two islands. And what some people found this, and they think, oh, awesome, we can do experiments on these. And so they started dropping sweet potatoes on both islands. Sweet potatoes on both islands, and the monkeys had never seen sweet potatoes before. So after a while, they found, oh, you can eat these. Awesome. And then one monkey on one island found that if you wash the sweet potato in the water first, it tastes better. So that monkey showed the other monkeys on its island that you can wash the sweet potatoes. Almost instantly on the other island, the monkeys started to wash the sweet potatoes.
Oh,
there was no way they could communicate with each other. There's no way. And we also have bits that happen with humans. We have like the 1 minute mile. Someone broke the 1 minute mile, and then all of a sudden everyone could break the 1 minute mile. It took that first person to break the 1 minute mile. We have things that are discovered, like there was Logie Baird did with communication, and at the same time he did it, somebody else did it in Italy. We have these ideas that come up across the world at the same time, like how they don't know each other. They might read the same papers, so those reading the same papers may give the same sort of ideas, but why do they come to fruition at the same time? There is something there. There's something there, and that's creativity. And we have the connection to the creativity, and if you don't practice your connection to that, you will lose the connection to it. You'll get rusty. And so leaning too heavily on an artificial tool to do the creativity denies you that spark that we all have, which is our humanity. And this is where the lean comes. There are plenty of people that we have all met in our life, and you go, man, don't you get it? Don't you? Like, and those people in general are less creative.
Right.
The creative people seem to have a better understanding of the connection of humanity and how people connect with each other. And the less creative people seem to, and it's that practice, it's like that loss of humanity, which is our creativity. And so another thing I'm a big proponent of is be creative. Like, just create, make things, tell stories. Practice telling stories.
Yeah.
And AI, to cycle back, because I remembered what I was talking about, denies you that. So you can use it to help you and to prompt things, but you can't give it the responsibility for your own personal creativity. You need to maintain that. And tables, and like that person, I think he was on Reddit, who said, oh, do I have to, or it was a comment on some video, I don't want to have to make stuff up myself. No. Even if you've got players at your table, if a player comes to the table and sits there and goes, entertain me, it's like they're the worst kind of players.
Oh, yeah.
Far out. No, you have to join in the story. Yeah. You've got to have a character that's compelling. You have to it's like you have to contribute into
you have to invest. Yeah, you have to invest into the group in order to get things back out for your own,
Yeah.
like, even if it's just entertainment, like you need to do that because this works so much better when there's that two-way street going on. The moment it's me feeding you like just things, ideas, whatever, right? Like if it's only me doing that your direction, one, I'm gonna burn out. Two, you're gonna get bored as hell by the time we're done with this. And you're gonna be like, that wasn't fun at all. It's like, well, yeah, you didn't participate. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, of course it was boring. It wasn't great for me either.
I had to sit and be edgy in the corner of the tavern every time. Anyway, that's all. But I know we are having a fun time.
Yeah.
Peter, it's such a pleasure to meet you. And we hope to have you
very
back on
much.
the
Pleasure to
show.
meet you. Yeah, I'd love to. It's really cool. Yeah, very much love to.
Oh wait, this is Emmerron's half of the show. My bad.
It is,
That's right.
but it's all good.
My bad.
No. I gave the most awkward greeting ever. That was a much better closing than my greeting, so it's all good. No, but Peter, really, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Diamond. I just trampled all over you. See, here I go.
I'm just saying, many years of customer service and security work will do that. So.
It will. Yeah. No, but yeah, sincerely, thank you, Peter, for accepting my email and being like, oh yeah, I'll do that. I really appreciate
cool.
you.
Yeah, cool. And 100% I'm happy to come back and talk about anything. It's cool. It was very cool. It's a pleasure meeting both of you. It's very, very awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Cool. All right, I'm going to go and try and sell a car.
Yeah, have fun with that.
Okay.
And for our live viewers on Twitch, we will be right back.
Yeah.